So in this video, I will be sharing with you guys some of the martial arts movies that I have enjoyed watching, and maybe you'll enjoy watching them also. Um, so the first one is Wing Chun 2010, because if you do not hype in 2010 with it, you will probably get a different movie. So in this movie, basically, you kind of sort of learn how Wing Chun was created. Um, you kind of have two different storylines slash love stories. You have the main couple who come together because of their families. Basically, they made a promise to each other that they would marry off their children if they had a boy and a girl respectively, which they did. Unbeknownst to them, their children have met very briefly, which he does not like her because he feels that she is unrefined and too violent. She's pretty much been raised as a tomboy because her mother died and her father used to be part of the Shaolin monks, so he learned a little bit of the Kung Fu and he taught her growing up. She gets into a lot of trouble with her violence time to time, although she's fairly good in her own right, but yeah, sometimes you just need help from someone else. And she gets help from a Shaolin monk who is pretty much running away to save the Shaolin monks because they're being destroyed. With the help of her master or teacher, she learns this new style Wing Chun to help defend herself against this guy who wants to marry her. If he beats her in a battle, she has to marry him, and basically what happened. And she learns this Wing Chun style from her master to help her defeat him, which she does, and then they kind of get caught up in the whole Shaolin temple being destroyed, and they end up helping their master with what's going on. And yeah, you kind of see their love story evolve, and I just kind of enjoyed it. I mean, they go from pretty much hating each other to loving each other to this mutual understanding and respect for each other. And I love the end just because it's kind of cute. Anyway, the next one is The Legend of the Drunken Master, the 1994 edition. And this is one of my absolute favorite Jackie Chan movies in the world, just because I died laughing. But that just may be me. I don't want to hype it up for you guys and then you come back and say that I didn't laugh at all. But I love his stepmother and him and the dialogue that they have together. It is hilarious. She makes me laugh more than anyone else in this movie. So basically, his father is very strict, and he has been banned from his father from using the drunken master style because he generally gets into a lot of trouble. And when you do the drunken master style, you sort of don't have control of yourself. I mean, you have these awesome moves, but you are sort of drunk, and anyone that's been drunk before or has taken a drink knows that alcohol inhibits your thinking and your rationality, so you tend to get into a lot of trouble with this style. He kind of runs into this group of bad guys that is abusing these workers and taking advantage of the people in China, and he has to go against his dad to be able to help them because he has to use his drunken style to defeat the bad guys. I absolutely love it, and I think you should go check it out. The next one is another of my favorite. It isn't as comedic as the other two that I talked a little bit about, and it is Chocolate. Chocolate is pretty much based on this girl, and she has autism, and her gift with autism is basically that she can pick up on any martial arts moves. If she's seen them as movies or just seen them in real life, or when she's having a fight with someone even, she can kind of pick up their tics and use that to her advantage, and even pick up the style that they have during their fight. Her mother was a former girlfriend of a mob boss, and she kind of falls in love with another guy, and the mob boss basically banishes her and him, and she ends up getting really sick. And her daughter has a friend named Moom, and while her mother is sick, they try to make money to buy her medicine because he's kind of doesn't have a family and they kind of become his family for him. So he wants to help her as much as he can. So he finds out that these people owe her money because obviously she's had mob connections, and he decides to go and get this money back from them, which brings a whole load of trouble for all of them. Because who wants to give back money, especially the mob? Come on now, common sense. But anyway, they get up into a lot of trouble, and she ends up having to save him and her mother, basically. I enjoyed the fighting scenes in this movie more than anything. Most people will say that the storyline is kind of shoddy, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that there's so much action in this movie that it made up for the shoddy plot. But I really liked it. And the final one is The Grandmaster. Now, I must say before I start this review, some people may not agree with me, but I must also say that I went to the movie theaters when this came out and I watched it personally. Let me start off by saying the movie, yes, it deserves all the awards it's won. It is a beautiful masterpiece when you watch it. The imagery, the way they shot it, the fight scenes is beautiful. But as an avid martial arts movie watcher, I wanted / expected more action than I guess we actually were delivered in the movie. In the movie, it's the story is basically like this documentary feel of Ip Man's life. And if anyone's watched Ip Man, like the regular just the action ones, like Ip Man 1 and Ip Man 2, then you know that there's a lot of action in them and they generally have a decent storyline. This one, I just felt like it had much to be desired, but maybe it's just because it had that documentary feel to it and not enough of the action that I wanted. In its own right, it's a beautiful movie. It really is. And the way the action scenes are shot, it leaves you breathless. But I felt like it could have been more. Or maybe I was just expecting more. Maybe that's what it is. But if you're like an avid fan of Ip Man and the Ip Man movies, I would recommend to watch it. I mean, it has this element of reality to it, more so than any other of the ones that we've mentioned. So yeah, if there is any questions or comments that you would like to leave me, or if you would like to ask me to review another movie or genre, then just leave them down below and I'll try to make some more of different genres or more martial arts